Well, hello. It is so nice to see all of your beautiful faces. Of course, you're seeing my beautiful face for the first time in a while. Sorry I haven't done a whole lot of vlog, video format type of stuff for Rule of Two lately, but I've enjoyed kind of just keeping my face off camera, doing the gameplay. Some people like that, some people don't. It's just kind of nice to change it up a little bit. But it is nice to be back on camera for you guys, talking about some new news. And what we're going to discuss today is this weird information about Gamestop starting to publish games. So yes, you heard right, GameStop is going to start publishing games. They have in fact started their own company called Gametrust. And this company, apparently this goes back to early January this year. I think the initiative didn't really have a name, and only in this last couple of days did they finally come out and publicly reveal, this is what we're doing, these are our plans, this is the name of our company going forward. It is a company called Gametrust, and Gametrust is a publishing company only, and this is GameStop's attempt to help facilitate the creation of games a little bit. There's a lot going on here, quite a bit of moving pieces, really weird news. I wanted to throw kind of my 2 cents in and sort of, give my opinion on what I think about this, good news or bad news. Now, a couple of interesting pieces of information about this is that there's actually a couple of well-known developers who are already in league or working with Gametrust. Most notably Insomniac Games, who's known for the Ratchet and Clank games, of course, obviously. One even just recently came out, which I can't wait to pick up and play. And also Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox One. Freaking fantastic game. Insomniac is a great developer. So they're already kind of pitched in and working a little bit with Gametrust and whatever this turns out to be. There's a few other companies here. Let me find it in my list of who they're working at. Frozen Byte is a Finnish developer who's known for the Trine series, and they're actually beginning to work now with GameStop's company Gametrust. I don't want to confuse these names here. And even more than that, they're apparently working at getting Ready at Dawn. Now, Ready at Dawn is a company who most recently did the Order 1886. We know how that kind of turned out. But they're also known for the original God of War games. So they know their shit. And I love God of War. I got to tell you guys, I'm a huge God of War fan. And I'm really hoping we finally get an announcement of God of War 4 sometime soon. The rumors are kind of starting to hint that way. But regardless, Insomniac Games and Ready at Dawn are the two higher profile companies who are already working with Gametrust and beginning to work with Gametrust. And then there's the smaller companies like Frozen Byte and also another company called Tequila Works that are also starting to work with GameStop with this company, Gametrust. So what's going on here? GameStop creating a company that is meant to publish video games. Why are they doing this, and what does this really mean? Obviously, this is, I'm sure most people who are familiar with this information already thought about this. This is GameStop's attempt to stay relevant, per se, to probably fight back with the changing video game landscape, the video game purchasing and buying and selling landscape, I should say. There's a lot of talks about how the digital age is taking over. Digital downloads and digital distribution are the future. It's already becoming that way now. And so the brick and mortar stores and stores dedicated just to physical games like GameStop might be in danger. And I kind of think that sucks, actually. I think it's too bad that they might be in danger. And if you know me, you know that I'm not a fan of downloading games. I have no problem if you like to download games. But for me, for Rob, I don't want to download my games. I want to purchase my games. I want to have a physical copy. I want to walk into a store. I want to go to midnight releases. I want to wrap the cellophane off and have a case and put a game into my console. I get that a lot of people nowadays, especially the younger gamers growing up in today's age, don't really dig that or appreciate it. And that's fine. I mean, I would never take away people's rights to play and purchase their games the way they want to. But in the same breath, I want my way of purchasing and playing games. And for me, it's physical stuff. So anyway, that's just me. With the digital stuff beginning to take over, of course, like I said, companies like GameStop, most notably GameStop, are kind of perceived as being in trouble. And we've seen a lot of attempts by GameStop and other small companies over the years to try to fight back against the digital age and create like online passes with EA and do things like that. No digital games and system bundles, and just fight against this digital oncoming digital onslaught. And I've always appreciated that. A lot of people are like, fuck GameStop. They're dumb. They screw people over, which is all very true, and maybe they deserve what's coming to them. That I can't say. And so in that respect, my ultimate opinion on this concept is that I like it. I actually think that it's really cool that a company like GameStop is working and developing another entity that is meant to help publish games. Now, we need to get into the differences between publishing and developing games for anyone who might not really be aware and is, overthinking what's happening. And, GameStop's stupid and this is dumb and it's just going to fail and they're just trying to get more money and they're trying to be greedy, or it's dumb that they're trying to stay relevant and all these things. There's a huge difference here. Game developing is the actual creative art of making a game. That is coming up with the ideas, writing the script and the dialogue, developing the characters and the in-game models. That is making a game, okay? That is the director and the actors on a movie and the editors on a movie creating a product that becomes a finished 2-hour film, okay? Now, a publisher, like what Electronic Arts does and Nintendo does and Sony does and stuff like that, that's different. That's effectively the producer in the movie industry. That is the entity that, for the most part, funds and invests in the project and is not really creative. They're not really, producing the product. Well, I'm confusing how the word producing is being used here. So I'm going to choose a different word. They're not creating the product and presenting the finished product to be viewed or played or whatever. They're just funding it. They're basically just say, hey, we're going to provide the platform and the necessary tools you need to make your product with our money. And then you're going to make it with your creative ability, and then we're just all going to share and reap the benefits and the monetary reward. That's what a publisher is. And so Gametrust, GameStop's new company, Gametrust, to me, is basically that. And they even state, I don't know if I can find the quote here on the fly, but they basically state that they're not working on the creative process here. They're not working on the creative side. They're not making games. They're funding the creation of games and providing a place and a platform and tools for developers like Insomniac and Ready at Dawn to make games so that they can now brand themselves in the gaming market and obviously make some money back. If Ready at Dawn makes a new game under Gametrust as a publisher and that game sells really well, everyone's making money, not just Ready at Dawn, but also Gametrust, which in turn is also GameStop. So that's what's going on. I think it's really cool that they're working to not try to create games, but they're just trying to provide the platform for people to make games. They're actually, for right now, what it seems like is they're mostly seeking out indie developers. And I know like Ready at Dawn and Insomniac aren't really indie developers, but with the other companies like Tequila and the Trine guys, Frozen Byte, they're seeking out indie developers, and within the industry it sounds like that's what they're doing with other companies who they're talking to try to find exciting new projects and smaller companies and entities up and coming and help them out with their game titles. And you guys, you can talk all the shit you want about GameStop, that's fine. Like I said, a lot of it's warranted, but I think that that's actually cool. Yes, their hand was kind of forced to do something cool like this because they're in a changing digital market of video game purchasing and buying and selling, but I think that it's sort of creating a positive benefit on the side. Granted, I mean, it's so early, maybe this turns out to be a huge bust, or maybe they do shitty things with it and it turns out to not be as great as I'm hoping it will be, but just on the surface level, when this is brand new information and a new plan from GameStop, I like this, and I mean, I have a soft spot for GameStop, you guys, because I've touched on this here and there. I worked for GameStop for like 3 years in the early 2000s, like near the beginning of the 6th gen up to the end of it. Like I left the company right when we had started taking pre-orders for the Xbox 360. So 2002 to 2005. And that's like some of the best years of my life. Like mostly a huge part because I was working at GameStop. I had a great experience. I worked with great people, had great friends. Just my life was awesome when I was working at GameStop and so embedded in the video game industry. GameStop sent me to E3 in 2004, you guys, for free. So, like, I have a really just good, positive, nostalgic memory of my time working for GameStop. And that was a different time in the company. The gaming industry was different, and so therefore GameStop was different and operated differently. It was a little more about the gamer and less about the money at that time. And so that's part of the reason why it was so much better. But because of that, I don't really come into this information with like, thumbing my nose up at them and just, with a condescending, you guys are failing and so you're just trying your last-ditch effort to try to get money and stay relevant. Like, even though that's totally true, I don't have a negative approach to it like a lot of people may. So I know that a lot of people have shit to say about GameStop, and like I said, it's mostly warranted. They do really dumb things nowadays, and they frustrate me, and it's too bad. But I still have to look at this like on the surface level, like I said. And I think that it's a really smart way for a company like GameStop that is traditionally a brick-and-mortar video game retailer only to try to find a new way to keep operating business. And now what they're also doing, they're not only trying to keep themselves profitable and making money in the video game industry, but they're going to potentially be helping a lot of small up-and-coming developers and game companies create their games and their products and get it out there. And maybe there's some, excellent give and take that's going to happen between the video game creation side and the video game publishing and retail side with this. So I see a lot of benefits and positives here. Again, over the next couple of years, the course of the next few years may change my mind and maybe we see bad things come out of it. But I honestly really think that this is pretty cool. They're starting off positive. Getting companies like Ready at Dawn and Insomniac on board is huge. I think that could probably lay the groundwork for other really excellent game companies to start working going forward. We'll see if they're working with AAA games or indie games or somewhere in between down the road. Who knows? It's a new thing. We're going to have to see how it all kind of shakes out. But as of right now, I'm excited. I also think it's a smart move. I don't see any negatives here unless the company starts doing really shitty business practices. But if that doesn't happen, I see no negatives here. This is only really a good thing, and if it keeps brick and mortar retailers around longer, I'm all for it. Those are the kind of things that I like. That's what I prefer in my gaming industry. It's how I prefer to buy my movies as well. I don't like downloading movies. I want to go and buy my Blu-rays and have my stacks of video games and movie collections, and I love that stuff. That's just how I roll. So if this keeps all that stuff kind of facilitating itself to last longer in the gaming industry, if I can speak correctly, that's awesome. Makes me very excited. So I don't know. That's what I think about this information. Pretty crazy. What do you guys think? Do you see this as a very smart, bold move? Do you think it's too risky? Do you think it's just dumb outright? Do you just hope for the utter failure of GameStop and you want all the stores just burned at the stake and burnt to a pile of rubble across the world? You tell me what you think about this stuff. You know what I think? I think it's great. So let's kind of see what happens here. Thanks, of course, for tuning in. I haven't, like I said, put my face on camera in a while, which is pretty cool to be able to do that and come back. And I don't know what my next couple of videos will look like. I actually recorded a Dark Souls 3 sort of impressions video because I am completely freaking lost in that game right now. So good. And I'm having issues with the audio, so I don't know if I'm going to post that and post a crappy audio version or maybe just abandon it altogether. I don't know. You guys maybe tell me if you think you'd want to see that, but it's like 13 minutes of me discussing what's good and bad about Dark Souls 3. But other than that, just look forward to more videos in the future. Of course, this is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I'll catch you guys next time.